All right, it's about 7:15 p.m. Wednesday, May 13th. You can see Statue of Liberty there. I'm sitting in the nest of the Swan Club. Got the swan on the wall. All right, I'm gonna try to distill what the Swan Club is in a relatively short amount of time. Try to encapsulate like the last 12 years of my journey. Started yoga. I took my first ever yoga class February 14th, 2014. 90-minute hot power yoga. I was like, what the fuck is this? I felt great afterwards. Was dripping with sweat. Had no idea what just happened. Got super into yoga. Loved the physical benefits, the mental health benefits. Had a crush on a girl, a teacher. That helped keep going back to class. And I was just like, for 3 years, I was just so into it. I was going all the time, practicing, getting more into the yoga philosophy and all the other stuff. And then it was 2016, I did a teacher training. And that was like a good next step here in Brooklyn, New York. And then I got super into Ashtanga yoga and was able to practice with Eddie Stern, who's like super legit Ashtanga yogi, amazing dude. Practiced with him in Fort Greene for I think like a year and a half. Was going like 5-6 days a week. It was awesome. Then I went to Mysore, India for a couple months, and practiced Ashtanga in Mysore, which is the home of Ashtanga yoga with Saraswati Joyce, who is the daughter of Pattabhi Joyce, who founded the lineage. And when I came back from India, I'd been teaching for a year or two in New York, and I said, okay, I'm going to start my own yoga studio. So I opened Swan's Nest Yoga in August 2018, and in East Williamsburg. That was awesome. Built up the studio, renovated it, expanded, was doing the DIY, living in a little loft in the welcome room, and then living in a little 1-bedroom apartment in the back. Built it up. We had like 5 or 6 teachers. We did the whole class pass thing. It was good. People liked it. It was cool. COVID hit in March 2020 and closed down. And right before COVID hit, in March of 2020, I had a Kundalini energy awakening. And I won't go into all the detail what that is now, but it's an energy that's lies dormant in our bodies, at the base of our spine, in the root chakra. And when it's awakened, it starts to make its way up through the body. And so basically I was teaching a yoga class, and at the end of it, when the students were in Shavasana, I asked questions like, now that your mind is quiet, you can ask yourself, who am I? What do I want to do in my life? What's my deepest desire? And I said that question, what's my deepest desire? And 3 words, to be gay, sprung into existence, into my body, not in my mind. Like, they weren't thoughts in my mind. They were physical, energetic things that came into my body in my root chakra. I looked down and I was like, whoa, what the fuck was that? Forget the words, just like, how are these words in my body? And it didn't hurt, it just came into being. And I finished the class, and everyone left, and then I just like sat on my bed, and I was like, what the fuck, what is this? And basically, since that time, February 2020, that energy has been rising up my body and doing exactly what Kundalini does. It forces us to face our blocked emotions and traumas and, repressed everything that's blocking our different energy chakras, our different energy centers. And until those emotional blockages are released or removed or processed, the Kundalini energy can't rise past that energy center. And so basically over these last, almost 6.5 years now, I've been on this journey, this Kundalini journey. I got into the psychedelic therapy. I confronted childhood sexual abuse. I went home. I yelled. I screamed. I cried. I vomited. I had stuff with my parents, like we all do as children. And I had stuff with my father that I needed to get off my chest. And as I did all that, and as I continued with the psychedelic therapy, and as I continued with the spiritual journey in my yoga practice, I started to move that energy through my body and release things. And that energy is basically up in my heart chakra now, my chest. And it's not like I'm enlightened or, I've healed everything or I'm totally pure. No, I'm on the spiritual journey. And I've had the spiritual experience. And it's been challenging and dark and painful and amazing. It's brought me to exactly this point here right now, sitting in the nest, making this video, because this is where I'm meant to be. And as I'm about to open this place and trying to convey what this place is about, it hit me that this place is a spiritual center. And not with any stereotype, not with it has to look a certain way or be a certain way or it's for a certain type of people. It's a place to seek the truth that lies within us. And that's through yoga practice, that's through the psychedelic therapy, that's through community, that's through sharing our stories of pain and suffering and joy and triumph and desire and greatness and all of it. And for me, where I'm at with my journey and this energy of these words of like, to be gay, for over these last 5-6 years, for a while, I was like, oh, I don't know, this happened when I was 38. It's like, maybe I'm gay now. I don't know. I always had girlfriends. Like biologically, everything seemed to be working heterosexually. But it's been this like thing. Oh shit, I'm gay. And for me, that word, I think ultimately my spiritual journey led me to uncover and process the childhood sexual abuse. And ultimately what that word means, right, without the sexual connotation, is to be free, is to be joyful, is to be creative, is to be carefree, is to be expressive, sensitive, all these other words that word can mean. And that's what yoga is. Yoga teaches us that our true nature is joy and creativity and love and bliss. Satchit Ananda is the Sanskrit word, truth, consciousness, bliss. That's what the teachings say, is that underneath our crazy minds and underneath our emotional baggage that we all carry and underneath our humanity of pain and suffering and heartbreak and repressed things and things we're shameful of and things we don't like about ourselves, all of that, underneath all that is this joy that wants to shine through. And that's the practice of yoga to me, and that's what this place is about, is that we come to a yoga practice to quiet our minds, to find time to contemplate and to have introspection and to move energy through our body and to use the breath and to use the postures to do that. But that's only a small piece of yoga. There's also studying the texts and reading for yourself, and not just yoga, but other spiritual teachings and philosophers and psychologists and musicians and artists and writers and all types of walks of life that are asking the question about who am I, or what's my deepest desire, or what do I want to do, or what am I doing in my life? What is life about? People that are searching meaning and purpose and a deeper connection to themselves and a deeper connection to others. And ultimately, I think we're all searching for love. And the spiritual practice is that we ourselves are love at our base, that which we call God, that which we call source, universe, spirit. Like, it's the loving energy that wants to flow through us and shine through us. That is what I think God is. And the flow of the universe, the Tao, whatever it is, and we're human and we're not always connected with that. And those of us that have traumas, or maybe just because it's part of the human process, like when we're disconnected from that, we're lost. We're in this material world and we're seeking that feeling of wholeness through external things, through food, drink, drugs, sex, relationships, work, whatever it is, money. Like, those are all part of life, and we are human and we do that. And that's not going to go away with the spiritual practice. But I do think that the spiritual practice is to get us to first come back to ourselves, reconnect with the source of who we are, reconnect with our own sense of authenticity and connection to that which we call God. And when we do that, we have our own sense of self-worth and self-esteem and love that we can then go out into this world and still participate in the world and still enjoy food and enjoy drink and enjoy concerts and music and sex and, all the good things as well as the bad things. We can see the world for what it is, with its suffering and its pain and its violence and its death and its injustice and all of it. And spirituality is the understanding that there is duality in this world. There's duality in our material world, and that's the nature of this world. And the nature of spirituality is oneness, is the understanding that underneath this duality, there's a connection, a oneness, an energetic force that unites all of us and everything in this world. And we're all at different levels of understanding, and we're all at different levels of evolution. And when we understand that there is that oneness, we can honor the diversity of these material world manifestations, and we can honor our differences, and we can honor different religions and different viewpoints and different walks of life and different cultures, and we can see that there are differences, and we can recognize that, and we don't turn a blind eye to that, but we can embrace the fact that we're still connected even underneath all those things. And then we can say, this is my version, this is my really, really small expression of this unknowable power of the divine, right? We will never be able to connect with the magnitude and the awesomeness of the divine, but we are small expressions of that. And when we have that realization that I am connected to source and I can express my unique expression of that, we have this realization that others are doing the same thing, or maybe others are trying to do the same thing, or maybe others are unconscious of this and they haven't realized it yet. And that's all well and good, but like, I can be more comfortable with other people doing their thing when I'm comfortable with myself doing my thing. And that's, honestly, that's it. Like, that's the teaching to me. That's what all of these practices are about, is having that, what we call self-realization. Realizing that we are not separate from the divine. We are not separate from God. We are not separate from Brahman, from Allah, from the Tao, from Christ consciousness, whatever words we want to use. Whatever the unknowable source of the universe is, we are not separate from that. That is yoga. That is self-realization. That's the whole point, and that's the whole shebang. Now, getting there is obviously a journey. And it'll be different for everyone. And I really like this phrase from the Rig Veda, that truth is one, paths are many. The idea that once you recognize the truth, you know that everyone's coming at it in their own way, and their own timing, and their own process, and their own words, and their own cultures, and all that stuff. And so that motto really resonates with me, and is a motto here at the Swan Club. And that's what I'm going to try to bring forth in this place. That fundamental teaching, in an environment, in a culture, and an institution that promotes that teaching, and that tries to allow for, finding the balance between individual expression and authenticity, and a community to walk that path with, and not overindulging in one way where we're all just these crazy individual egos running around, not giving a fuck about anyone else except ourselves. No, that's not spirituality, that's egotism. We're also not a cult. We're not, some type of organization that's got strict rules and we all wear white and, we do these rituals, and nope, we're not a cult, We're the middle path. We are individual souls in these bodies, in these physical bodies. We're journeying on our paths towards wholeness, psychological wholeness, self-realization. And we do it together in community. And we can leverage each other's experiences and learn from each other and share our stories and connect with each other. And we can also realize that there are things inside of us and truths inside of us that are yearning to be brought forward. And we need to create the freedom and the space and a non-judgmental zone that people can bring these truths forward, even the dark ones, especially the dark ones, because it's underneath the darkness where the light is trying to shine through. And so we need spaces like this where people can come and feel safe to share their pain and their experiences and their traumas and really dark, vulgar, vile words and ideas that permeate our psyches and our bodies, because it's underneath that pain where the love is and the joy is. And I have that vulgarity in me. I have really, really vile words in my body that I'm still trying to make sense of and trying to navigate and work through with talk therapy and psychedelic therapy and my yoga practice and writing. Like, I'm trying to understand where this hate and pain and darkness comes from. And I know some of it's from sexual abuse and some of it's from other things of just being human and whatever, but it's realizing that I'm not really in control of those things, and those aren't me. Those are energies that are within my body. And so I think we all have that. And there's not a lot of places, at least I haven't found, where and maybe I wasn't looking that hard, but I don't think there's a lot of places in our typical workday, hang out at the bar at night or, whatever, that we can kind of walk this path. And so, and I'm sure churches and temples and other places make space for these types of things. And so I guess what I'm saying is just I created a space that felt like is what I needed and what I wanted, what I was looking for when I was going through my journey. And what I saw was, either kind of really high priced, like recovery centers that were, 1 month, 2 month, 3 month things that like were out of my price range and just didn't really feel right for me. And then also maybe some antiquated, maybe more traditional religious institutions or groups that also didn't feel right for me either. And I was like, I just want a place where like I can talk to people about what I'm going through, about childhood sexual abuse in a real way. And other people, know kind of they're there for that. So everyone's kind of on the same page. And like, we can also, eat pizza and drink wine and be human. And it's not some like super structured or formal thing, because I think ultimately what we really, how we heal is from being allowed to express truths that are inside of us, and for people to really listen to us and not judge us, and to relate to people that have gone through experiences that are on an energetic level where they can actually like hold space for that pain and trauma. Because people that haven't processed their stuff yet, I just think, it's nothing against anyone, but I've just seen it in my journey and myself. There's some things I can't handle, because I haven't healed myself enough or haven't had the same experiences ever. But I do think when we find people that have done some healing and have gone through some stuff, you can have a conversation with people that is deeper and feels more healing than you can with other people that haven't gone through similar things, or, haven't kind of like walked the path to get to a certain place. So that is what the Swan Club is. And I kept going through all these iterations. I'm like, is it a yoga studio? Is it a social club? Is it a spiritual center? Is it a church? It's like all this shit. And what you like, the moment you try to label something and put words to it or put a strict thing, then it becomes that thing. And you're like, well, it's not really that. It's kind of, so I don't know. This video for me was a way to try to encapsulate what this place is. And hopefully people will watch this and resonate with it. And we'll just do it. We'll just be here and we'll do it. And we'll practice yoga, to me, in a really authentic way. No music, no theme classes. Over time we might do some fun stuff, but like the majority is like, it's no music. It's no like, beer yoga or goat yoga or whatever. It's like, it's no brands. It's no like 12-step program to be enlightened. No. It's movement, it's breath. It's a series of poses that I've developed, classical yoga poses. It's calming the mind, calming the nervous system. That's like the physical yoga practice. And then there's, there'll be nights where we'll hang out. Some of it will be for like kind of healing practices, support groups. Some of it will just come hang out and play pool, ping pong, play cards, fuck around with each other, make jokes. Some of it's going to be a speaker series on psychedelics and psychedelic therapy. Hopefully we'll do concerts in here. Hopefully we'll do weddings in here. That's what this place is. It's a place to be human. it's a place to heal ourselves. It's a place to foster creativity, to do things that we're scared to do, to work through our fears, to grow, to evolve, to transform, to move past our pain, maybe start drinking less, maybe start getting off drugs, maybe eating healthier, whatever, and also, or not, like I'm still going to drink, I'm still going to eat pizza. I'm still going to be hanging out, at the bars and stuff, but like, it's like anything. It's just the flow of life. And, sometimes we're in a certain phase and we're doing things, and then we cycle back and we get off of that phase and we go into another phase. And, it's the cycle of life, and it's the spirals of healing and the spirals of evolution of our consciousness. But this place is, not a place to come and like, get fucked up and party really hard. And no, like, yes, we're going to have some dance parties here and it's going to be fun, but it's not like this, psychedelic drug den. No, it's a healing center in a really human way, and not, totally branded or stereotypes or all these different things. It's just coming and being human and being honest with ourselves. That's like the biggest part. Be honest with your suffering, be honest with your pain, be honest with your humanity, and say, you know what? I want to feel better, or I want to know, why am I depressed? Why am I anxious? What's causing this? And that intention, the desire to like get better, or to seek the truth, or to seek joy, or whatever, seek God, whatever the word you want to use, that to me is like the most important thing. The intention and the desire to seek something greater than ourselves, for me, I think has been what unlocked my Kundalini energy awakening. Because back in 2020, when that happened to me and I was teaching yoga and I was practicing yoga, I was still drinking alcohol, I was still eating meat, I was still hanging out, but I also had a rigorous spiritual practice, and I'd been meditating and chanting and reading the texts and really diving deep into the Upanishads and all these beautiful things. And honestly, it's by the grace of God that this happened, like, this wasn't me. This is a higher power that is working through me, and this Kundalini energy that is rising through my body. And so there's no one way to walk this path and to kind of see what happens on the journey. Like, it's up to a higher power. I totally believe in that. And then it's once you have that experience, it's walking this life with this idea that, yes, I have an ego, and yes, I'm human, and yes, I'm still very present in my humanity, and I also know there's something higher than me. And the more I can start to surrender my ego and my need to control and my need to like know everything, the more I surrender, the easier things become. And that's like the balance. It's like balancing our ego and taking action and, having an opinion and whatever, and balancing surrendering to a higher power and saying, you know what? If I'm really struggling with something right now, maybe this thing isn't for me right now. Maybe this person isn't for me. Maybe this idea I had to build this thing isn't right now. Maybe something's going to be bigger down the road. And that's exactly what happened to me with the Swan Club. Like, sitting in this place right now, this place is 94 million times better than the place I looked at in Red Hook 4 years ago when I moved down here, and I said, I'm going to like open the Swan Club in this place, and I'm going to do these things. And it was like, it was on the other side of 5 blocks away on Red Hook or whatever. And I thought that was going to be it. And all I can say is God had bigger plans for me, because this place is way better than that place. And so, all right, I'm coming up on 30 minutes. Damn. This is not Instagram friendly. But that's what I had to say. That's my 30-minute pitch on what the Swan Club is. And, you know, it's not what to teach in business school for your 2-minute elevator pitch, but fuck that. Like, you know, this isn't a business. This is a church. This is a spiritual center and a church. And shit takes time. The journey takes time. You know, healing takes time. Growth takes time. Transformation takes time. That's what happens. All right. I think that's it. I think I got everything I wanted to say. Fuck yeah. Swan Club, baby. Let's do it.